Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you have all had a very good, blessed week so far. I have been spending my day doing laundry and floors and things of that nature, but I thought I would stop for a minute to make some goodies for the family. My kids love chocolate chip cookies, and this is a very quick, easy recipe. Reminds me of a child, being a child. My mother, would make these chocolate chip cookies, and they always were so yummy, and they're soft, and they're just fresh, especially when they come straight out of the oven. They are absolutely the best at that point, when they're still warm. But this recipe is an old-fashioned recipe, and I'm sure you probably have made chocolate chip cookies before, so this is probably nothing new for you, but I am going to make these and let you watch, so that if you've never made a homemade chocolate chip cookie, now's the time, because these are very easy to make and you just about can't mess them up. So I am going to show you the ingredients that we have here, and we're going to put some cookies together. Today I'm going to be using my KitchenAid mixer, and this is probably the best gift I have ever received. This thing gets used just about every single week. I love it. It's the artesian, I believe, but we actually, believe it or not, I ended up finding a refurbished one, and I got it for, about half the price. And I've had it now for over 2 years, and like I said, it's used weekly, so that was a good deal for us. But anyway, what we have here in our soft chocolate chip cookies, there's my oven, baked, got it preheating to 350. What we have here for our ingredients, we're going to need a stick of butter and 2 eggs at room temperature. Guys, not melted. Room temperature. It needs to be soft. Same with the eggs. Eggs always do better if they're at room temperature, so pull those out at the same time you pull your stick of butter out and let them all sit. I usually cut my dome light on my stove on, and within a couple hours, well, actually usually within an hour or so, my butter's ready to go, and so are the eggs. We also have 2 cups of flour plus 2 tablespoons. Okay, so you're going to do 2.5 cups of flour and then 2 tablespoons more of flour, all-purpose flour. We also have half of a teaspoon of salt in there and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder this time, baking soda. And that's what's in these dry ingredients here. We also have vanilla. We're going to use a teaspoon of vanilla, a cup of white granulated sugar, half a cup of packed light brown sugar, and about 1.5 bags of chocolate chips. Now, you can use any kind of chips you like. You do not have to use chocolate. You can do the mini chips. You could do peanut butter chips, butterscotch, white chocolate. I mean, there's no limit here. The cookie base is going to stay the same. So feel free to put whatever flavor of chocolate chip you'd like. I also have a scoop, and I love these things. I use these. I have a smaller one for smaller cookies, and then I have a larger. I actually use an ice cream scoop for muffin mixes, y'all. I don't know if y'all are in on that little secret, but if you are making muffins, grab your ice cream scooper and scoop out your batter into your muffin pans, muffin tins. Goes a lot smoother. But anyway, these are the ingredients you're going to need to make these cookies. So we're going to get everything set up and get ready to go. So I've already gone ahead and put my softened butter down into the bowl of my mixer here. And the next thing I'm going to put in, you're going to put in both of your sugars, and that was half a cup of packed ground sugar and half a cup of the granulated sugar. What you're going to do is you're going to get this stirred in, incorporated together first. So you want to make sure your sugars and your butters get mixed up really good till they're smooth consistency. You'll start seeing it kind of fluff up a little bit when it's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And you don't have to turn it on real high. You just turn it on like the 2. Like I said, you're just going to mix this until it, until it gets all incorporated in there, your butter and your sugar. One thing I do want to tell you guys is your eggs. The reason you do those at room temperature is because you don't want to really add anything cold into this mix that's already room temperature. So my 2 eggs they've been sitting out for, as long as I had my butter sitting out. So those are room temperature. I've just always heard that it's better to put room temperature eggs, and you're going to do these one at a time because you want to incorporate everything really, really good. And that's why you do your eggs one at a time. You're not going to pour, you're not going to break both of them and just put both of them straight up in there. Let me turn this off and scrape my edges down just to make sure everything's smooth. This consistency is like a wet sand, I guess, is all I can maybe compare it to. I'm going to let that stir for just another minute or 2. Not long. It's about ready. Make sure your butter gets in there. I love this mixer, but sometimes you have to scrape the bottom. The paddle doesn't seem to go all the way to the very bottom of it. Like I said, you want it to kind of be all incorporated. You can kind of tell it starts getting smooth and starts looking like it's a little fluffier. Alright, I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to go ahead and add 1 egg. Like I said, I'm going to cut that down on about a 2. Let's see if I can. I kind of wanted y'all to be able to see up into the bowl a little bit. Alright, that's egg number 1. It's incorporated in there. Now we're going to go ahead and do egg number 2. I'm going to get that in there real good. Y'all, I'm not very brand specific on my chocolate chips. I've bought the store brands. I've also bought the name brand. Those are Nestle. I actually found those on sale. They were 2 for $5, so I bought both of those. Sometimes I'll just buy the Publix brand, or I've even used the nice, expensive Ghirardelli ones, and any will do. I don't see that there's any one that's honestly any better than the other. Alright, so now we're going to incorporate 1 teaspoon of vanilla. This is just for a little flavoring, y'all. Get that in there and get that mixed up good. Scrape down my sides. You can still see that it's somewhat grainy still from the sugar. You're not going to completely be able to get rid of the graininess in the sugar because, it's got brown sugar and white. So, but anyway. But you want to make sure those eggs, the vanilla, and all that gets mixed in really, really good. So. Alright guys, it looks like it's about time to start adding some flour. Now this is the messy part. So if you don't have a cover protector for your mixer, you're going to get flour everywhere. I hate to tell you, but what I like to do is I like to scoop out like a half a cup at a time to put in so that it's not quite as messy. It doesn't sling it quite and start out on a lower setting on the mixer, because the higher you go, of course, the more you're going to sling that dry flour everywhere. So, but this is messy. There's no getting around it, y'all. But that's okay. All right. Go ahead and add some more. I usually get a little half-cup scooper, the scooper I use for my brown sugar, and just use that to scoop my flour in there. I make this recipe, guys, are going to make about 36 to 42 cookies. So it makes a lot, or what you think is a lot. But I'm going to tell you what, around this house, these cookies, they might last 2.5 days. I'm not kidding. Of course, there's 5 people that eat them. And my son Dustin, he likes to get them and put them in the microwave and heat them up so that they're, you know, all nice and soft. And that's how he eats his chocolate chip cookies. Well, I'm just going to give you guys a little tip here. Sometimes if my kitchen is really, really hot, my batter, even with the extra 2 tablespoons of flour, will still seem to be a little thin. And let me tell you, when your batter is thin like that, when you put it in the oven, it's going to spread. And it's going to spread, and when it does spread, it's going to be thinner and larger, thus making it more crunchy. So if you want your cookies to stay soft in the center, you're going to want your batter to be pretty, you know, fairly stiff. And I will show you when we get all this mixed in here. But here's a little tip. If your batter is a little runny and not where it needs to be, take your bowl, stick it straight in your refrigerator, and leave it in there for about 30 minutes. You will be able to firm up the batter, and that will make it much, much easier when it comes to baking them. They'll come out, they'll rise, they'll be fatter in the middle, therefore they will be chewy in the middle. So yeah, that's just one little tip that I've learned, and I learned that the hard way. I make snickerdoodle cookies, and snickerdoodles, one of the great things about snickerdoodle cookies is that they are soft. They're always soft in the middle. And the last time I made them, I forgot to put them in the refrigerator, the batter in the refrigerator, before I put them in the oven, and they spread, and they ended up being a little bit more crunchy than I like. I like a soft snickerdoodle cookie. So I was kind of disappointed that you know, did not turn out. You know, there's nothing worse than taking the time, your time and your effort to do something, you know, and then it not turn out how you want it to. It's very disappointing. I've gotten pretty upset a couple times over food not coming out the way that I wanted it to. I know we shouldn't be that way, should we? We should not let little things like that upset us, because in the grand scheme of things, this is really, this is nothing. Okay, so now that I've got that incorporated, all the dough is ready to go. We're going to go with our chocolate. I'm just going to pour 1.5 bags of milk. I'm going to do 1/2 bag of semi. Like I said, y'all, this is 3 cups, roughly 3 cups. These have tons of chocolate chips in them. But I mean, can't go wrong with chocolate chips. I mean, come on. Can't have too many chocolate chips, right? Y'all, this batter's very stiff, which is what you want. So it might take you a minute or two to get your chips incorporated. You don't have to use a spatula either. You can use whatever. You can use a spoon for this. I just like to use a spatula. It just keeps me from having to clean something else, since I already had the spatula here. Hey, I'm all about convenience, y'all. Y'all know that by now, right? All right, so that's the batter. See the consistency, y'all? It's thick, like a cookie. The way it's supposed to be. So, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me scoop a whole bunch of cookie batter. I will let y'all watch me scoop a few. So this is my scooper, and like I said, I love this little scooper. I'm just going to get a scooper full. We're going to start putting them on our pan. Like I said, this is going to make about anywhere from 36 to 42 cookies. It makes a good bit. Space them out real good, y'all. These are so yummy. They just remind you of, or they do me, remind me of growing up. I had such a wonderful, wonderful childhood. We had a wonderful neighborhood we lived in with a lot of ladies in our neighborhood that cooked, and we would all eat goodies from their homes. I'll never forget. Lady that lived across the street, Miss Charlotte. Boy, I love that lady. She was the sweetest little thing. And she would make popcorn balls at Halloween, y'all. And I think that was probably one of our favorite things. We always went to her house for her popcorn balls. All right, so I've got my cookie batter on my first cookie sheet. Now, this is going to take a lot of cookie sheets, y'all. But I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven. We're going to set the timer. I'm going to set the timer for right at 8 minutes and then check them. You don't want them too brown on the top, y'all. That's the key to baking. What I tell people all the time. The key to baking is almost to underbake. Do not overbake your stuff. That's where a lot of people make their mistakes. Is when they try to bake, when they try to overbake stuff. You have to really almost underbake. A cake, to me, when I make a cake, I'll stick a toothpick in it to check it, and you don't want batter still sticking to a toothpick, but you do want it to be just a little moist on that toothpick, because you know if you let it go too long, you'll get a dry cake. And the same thing with cookies. If you let them cook for too long and they get real brown on the top, they're going to be more crunchy than chewy, and I like chewy. Same with my brownies. I do my brownies almost underdone. But we're going to let these cook. We'll check them here in about 8 minutes. So I will see you guys here in a few minutes. Okay, so the first batch is out of the oven, and as you can see, they are not too brown. They are barely brown on the top, but they do have brown around the edges. So that is the first batch out, and I'm going to be putting these on a cooling pan so I can get them cooled and get the next batch going. I've already got 2 more cookie sheets in right now, and I've got more batter, so we're still making cookies. And there we have it, guys. All these beautiful cookies are done. And this recipe made 45 cookies. So that's plenty. Well, I say that's plenty. Those might last 2 days in this house with all these wonderful kids. If you'll see, they're just chock full of chocolate chips. They're so, so good. And if you'll notice, they're just barely brown. They're not overcooked. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me cook these chocolate chip cookies today. I really enjoyed it. It's an easy and quick recipe, and they go a long way. Really, really do enjoy them. My kids love them. Everybody in the house does. I think that you will really, really enjoy them as well if you cook them. So I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you bake them. Hey, let me know if you put any little twist on it, like adding nuts or, you know, different chips that you might add to yours. I would love to hear from you and see how yours came out baked. Guys, I hope you have a blessed week. The rest of the week, I will be headed back to work tomorrow, so my cooking's probably done until later than the weekend. But God bless you all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon.